What's up YouTube, how you doing? This is Mr. Tybox123 and in this video I'm going to be bringing you my full review of this, the HTC One. So here we are guys, and we are back for a major review in terms of Android smartphones. Between this, the HTC One and the Samsung Galaxy S4, they're probably going to be battling it out for best smartphone of the year, especially in terms of Android, maybe for the rest of 2013, maybe even right up to the beginning part of 2014. That's just how good the HTC One is, and I'll let you know my overall opinion of the phone towards the end of the video. But into the review. First up, design and build quality. Now, the design of this phone, I think personally, and obviously it does come down to personal taste, is absolutely incredible. I find the design to be just extremely beautiful all the way around, front, back, top, bottom. The entire phone is just absolutely oozing quality and class. The aluminium unibody design with the two-tone just looks absolutely fantastic, and I think this is probably the best designed phone of all time, and I'm including the iPhone in that as well. In terms of build quality, again, I think this is second to none. The build quality of this phone is just ridiculously impressive. The aluminium unibody, the way it feels in your hand, right the way to the drilled or lasered holes for the front of the boom sound speakers is just absolutely beautiful. Even the machined aluminium volume rocker on the side of the phone just adds again to that elegance and that class, and this thing just absolutely oozes premium quality, expensive. It just feels perfect in the hand, and I think it looks that way as well. So overall, in terms of build quality and design, this for me is by far and away the single best design and build quality of any smartphone that has ever existed. So let's take a little bit of a tour around the device. First up, on the top, and personally I'm not a fan of it being on the top, I find it a bit awkward to get to, is the standby on-off button. Now, I think the reason they've put that on the top is because the IR blaster is on the top, and that button actually doubles up as the IR blaster, but I really don't like it being up there. It's a bit of a stretch to get to and a bit of an awkward position, and I would have much preferred to see it on the side of the phone. Next up, on the top of the phone, we have got the 3.5mm headphone jack, and I much prefer that being on the top of the phone than on the bottom. But then there are a whole bunch of people that much prefer to have the headphone jack on the bottom of the phone. So again, that kind of comes down to personal preference. As we move around to the right hand side of the phone, got that beautiful volume rocker up and down, and it works very, very nicely. Good feedback and no problems with that at all. Around the bottom of the phone, we have got a microphone along with the micro USB charger as well, and that is slightly offset to one side. I kind of prefer it to be in the middle, but it really doesn't make a big difference at all. And then as we work our way around the left hand side, we have got the micro SIM tray for obviously the SIM card. Now, if we look at the front of the phone, we have got those two beautifully designed and engineered grills for the boom sound speakers, and I will come back to the boom sound speakers in just a minute. Also on the front, we have got a 2.1 megapixel front facing camera, and this is a wide angle camera, and again I'll come back to the quality of that in just a little while. We've also got a couple of sensors as well on the front, and then as we work our way around to the back, we've got that beautiful aluminium shell that covers the entire phone, along with the Beats Audio logo as well. Now at the top, we have got a single flash LED along with that 4 ultra pixel camera, which we're going to come on to in just a moment. And then finally, on the front of the phone, the very main part of the front phone, we have got that 4.7 inch Super LCD 3 1080p panel with the whopping 469 ppi display, which I believe is the highest on the market today. And the screen itself, which we're going to move on to now, is ridiculously impressive. The screen is just absolutely stunning, and again, it is the single best display that I've ever used on any device. The viewing angles, the quality, the contrast, the brightness, just everything about it is just about as good as you can possibly get, along with that ridiculous resolution and PPI as well. Just makes it an absolute joy to watch or consume any kind of media on whatsoever, along with more basic things like reading text and web pages. It's just absolutely sublime. The screen is fantastic on the HTC One. Now, moving on to those boom sound speakers powered by Beats. They are another absolutely fantastic achievement. To have dual stereo speakers on the front of the phone is just awesome. I have no idea why all these phone makers kind of forget about the quality of the loudspeaker on a phone, and this thing blows absolutely everything out of the water in terms of volume and also quality as well, right the way through the range. In fact, if we just pair it up with an iPhone 5 and listen to the quality on the iPhone 5 just for a few seconds to hear what that's like. And then we'll just switch over to the HTC One with boom sound. And hopefully, like me sitting here in front of them, you can really tell just how different they are. Both of them on full volume. In fact, the actual HTC One boom sound speakers may have been slightly reduced, but the quality is absolutely phenomenal. The fact that they're stereo, again, is phenomenal. When you're listening to movies that have any kind of stereo sound or even audio, you can hear it. It just makes a huge difference than having that single mono speaker like most phones. And having them on the front sounds like a very simple and easy and obvious thing to do, and yet no other manufacturers do it, and it makes a huge difference in terms of media consumption. Now, working our way around to the back again, a little bit more detail about the camera. HTC took a slightly different and daring approach with the camera on the HTC One. They opted to go for larger pixels rather than a larger number of pixels and called this an ultra pixel camera. 4 ultra pixels as far as HTC say. Now, what that actually means is that this camera performs better in low light situations because those larger pixels can capture more light. Now, in terms of the overall quality of the camera, what does that really mean for the final results? Well, the overall quality I've found to be absolutely fantastic. Personally, I tend to take most of my pictures in not great daylight. A, because in England here we don't often get a huge amount of sun, and secondly because quite often when I'm using a smartphone I tend to be indoors, maybe at a party or inside the house or something like that, or even out for dinner of an evening. And for that specific purpose, I think this is the best smartphone camera available just because of the way it works in those low light situations. Now, in terms of full light situations, if we compare it to something like the Galaxy S4 with its 13 megapixel camera, yes, it definitely doesn't have as much detail, and yes, it definitely doesn't have as much sharpness. One thing I absolutely adore about the cameras on the HTC One is the fact that they are both very wide angle lenses. Now, they don't tell you exactly what angle they are, but they are extremely wide. Now, for me who does like video vlogs and I've got the camera facing me, it's fantastic because you don't have to hold the phone as far away from you when you're videoing yourself to get a lot more into the picture, and also you don't have to be as far away from an object when you're using the rear facing camera as you would do normally with any other smartphone. And it's an extremely nice little touch that they've put those wide angle cameras on both sides of the phone, and the image stabilization works fantastically well on both of those. Now, the operating system, the HTC One comes stock with Android 4.1.2. Hopefully we'll get updates in the not too distant future to 4.2.1 and then continuously throughout the year as Google release new updates to Android. Now, as usual, HTC have put their own Sense skin on top of the Android operating system, and I think they've done a great job with the version on the HTC One, which is Sense 5.0. They seem to have removed a lot of the bloatware. They seem to have removed all of the different aspects that actually slowed the operating system down in the past with previous HTC devices, but at the same time they've added in some really unique functionality. First of all, we've got HTC Blink Feed, which is a kind of news aggregation service, goes away to all of your social networks and a whole bunch of different news streams and brings them all into one place with a really nice kind of look and feel. Now, I don't really use services like this, but a lot of people do, and in fact I think it works extremely well and gives you a nice level of customization. The only thing I'm not too keen on it with is the fact that you can't actually fully disable it. You can actually move it right the way over to the side of your screen so you don't necessarily come across it so much, but you can't fully disable it, which I think is a bit of a negative. Another feature that they've built into it is HTC Zoe, which is really to do with the camera. And instead of actually taking just a still shot, it takes a sort of 1 to 2 second video clip. And then actually within the gallery application, which they've again modified to bring in a lot of your social photos, it actually puts them all together in a really nice montage, a nice little video with a nice soundtrack over the top that HTC thinks suits the video. Now I actually quite like this feature, I've been using it quite a lot, and I'm really impressed with the output of the videos it actually creates. I think they're actually quite nice and quite nice to view. Couple of other nice little features. I really like the inbuilt mail application on the HTC One, and I also think that the TV application is extremely good as well. Not only does it actually give you your full TV guide, but it also doubles up as a infrared remote control for a number of televisions, and you can add it into there as many as you want for all of the different televisions you might have around your house or office. Again, a really nice touch with the HTC Sense overlay. And as usual, they've done a great job with the visuals. I think the icons look nice. I like the way that it's laid out, and the fact that you scroll up and down through your applications instead of left to right just feels a little bit more natural when you're using your thumb and not using 2 hands. Now last but definitely not least, in terms of the operating system and Sense 5.0, the keyboard on the HTC One I've found to be absolutely fantastic. Not only the layout and the positioning and the sensitivity of all of the keys, but the autocorrect I've found to be very accurate indeed. I found that Android just lacks very slightly on the autocorrect side of things on most of their devices, but HTC seems to have gone a long way out of their way to make sure that the autocorrect is very good, and this is definitely right up there with the best keyboard and autocorrect system that I've used on any phone. Now onto performance, and the HTC One doesn't let you down in this department either. It's got a quad-core 1.7 GHz processor with 2 GB of RAM, and it literally eats up anything that you throw at it. Whether you're playing games or watching media or listening to music or just simply navigating yourself around web pages or indeed the operating system itself, it literally flies. It's very snappy, very responsive, and I've not managed to actually make the operating system lag in any way whatsoever. So the performance of the phone I've been very impressed with, and I think HTC have done a great job with Sense, making it nice and zippy. Now last but not least, onto the battery performance, and HTC have gone for a fixed battery in the HTC One. You can't remove it, but it is a 2300 mAh battery, and I found with medium to heavy usage it can just about last a day. If you're doing heavy media consumption or gaming, then slightly less than that, but with your average kind of workload you should be able to get through the majority of a day, or at least to the evening where you can get home and get access to a charger. Now, my overall opinion of the HTC One, if you guys haven't guessed already, I absolutely love this phone. I think this is the single best smartphone that has ever been produced, not only on the Android side of things, but including everything that's out there in the smartphone portfolio today. I wouldn't hesitate in recommending this to anyone at all, regardless of the way that you actually use your phone. This fits everybody. It's not too big for small hands. It's got an amazing screen, it's got a great camera, a great video, it's got fantastic speakers. Pretty much everything about the HTC One is absolutely awesome, and I would definitely have no issue in recommending someone to go out and get this on a contract for a 2-year period. I think it's going to last extremely well during that time. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Please do hit that like button for me, and I will see you all in the next video. See ya.